Get started, my party people. So welcome into part 3 of our 4-part series on distance, rate, and time word problems. So just like I went over a few moments ago, we're going to go ahead and just kind of look at a preview of today's class. And it's really important that we understand how this flow really took place, because it's going to help you understand how everything we've done before connects with everything that we're going to do today and everything we're going to do later. Not just with distance, rate, time, but you're going to see a lot of the same patterns in terms of, hey, these same ideas that we're applying, not just what we're learning, but the strategies, it really does apply to a lot of things. So number one, first thing we got to take care of is the learning the formula, refreshing on it if you weren't here before. Now, second, after we learn the formula, well, we got to take a look at word problems. And we need to know, well, when I'm looking at a word problem, how do I know that this means this? How do I know that that means that? Like, you have to be careful about these things to get that done. Now, once you understand how the formula works, how to point things out in word problems, and after that, hey, how do we solve those equations? How do we save as much time as possible? How do we use all of these tips and tricks and strategies that we're all learning? When is that actually appropriate to use? And we'll learn that today. So today we have a special treat, because today we're going to be going over situations with indirect relationships. And I'm going to go over what that means in a bit, but we're going to refresh first on earlier stuff. So after that, get ready for a treat today. All right. So again, here's today's plan. Follow along. Part 1, what we're going to do here, step 1, is we're going to go ahead and review the main notes and review the fundamentals. Again, this is what we've learned in part 1 last week. So who's here for the first time? Go ahead and type it out in the chat box. Who's here for the first time? Awesome. So I went ahead and closed down the chat box again, but thanks for those replies. So if you're here for the first time, don't worry. We're still going to review what we did since the very, very, very beginning. You'll be fine. That'll still take up maybe like the first quarter of class. You might have a little learning curve, but I'm going to give you the exact notes you need to be successful. So don't worry. We'll have a crash course. Now, number 2, we're going to learn that other type of distance, rate, time word problem, and we're going to practice it like crazy. So nobody here has done this yet. So we just need to make sure that we have the basic formula down, because if you know the basic formula and the basic main idea, you're good. That's it. You're fine. You're good. You will be successful today. And so tomorrow, wouldn't it be nice if we had a day where we recapped everything that we've done for distance, rate, time, every single type of problem that we've done? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a whole class just to do that? Well, that's tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of fun in tomorrow's class, because it's going to be recapping everything we've done, 2-minute practice, just like the test, reviewing every question, giving you every single opportunity to learn from those mistakes. And the best thing is, all of these recordings are going to be placed inside of the course itself. So if you're in the program, you go right in the next morning, you have all the classes lined up. You'll also have all of your unit checkpoint speed drills. And for those of you that don't know, remember, speed drills, they're basically unlimited practice. You take 10 questions at a time, you're timed, and you get step-by-step solutions after every time you try. And when you reset, you get brand new questions. So that's already live in there in the course for you to take whenever you're ready. So go in there and practice that and try that out if you're ready for it. If not, keep communicating with me, letting me know what you need from me, so that way I can keep helping you succeed. So with that said, that's what tomorrow's all about. We're going to be doing a 2-hour practice session with everything from parts 1, 2, and 3. So 3 is today. So get ready for that. All right. Let's go ahead and move on forward here. And let's just, again, refresh what we've been doing this entire time. Let's talk about the main notes here for distance, rate, and time. So this is something that you may all know. Distance equals rate times time. So in the chat box, I want you to let me know, did you know that that's the formula for the distance for the rate? Did you know that that's the formula? After part 1, yes, right? Yeah, and if you recognize it, that still counts. We'll go ahead and count that. What I really want to know is, do you know this? That's it. Like, do you know this to be true? Is it in your head, kind of like mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? Something to that effect. Is this stuck in your head as a fact? Okay, right? So it's for, between a lot of people, yeah, it's stuck. It's stuck in their head. Now, here's the thing, my party people. Here's a problem with that notion. In the same way that a lot of us know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, in the same way that a lot of us know distance equals rate times time, or mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, it's somewhat true that a lot of people tend to memorize these things, but they don't quite know how to use these things. Yes or no, everybody? Is that somewhat true for you? Like, you may know a formula, but you may not particularly know how to use it, right? So thanks for being honest there with yourselves, because this is something that we're really going to be tackling, not just in the live classes, but in everything that you do in my website. Whether you're a free student of mine or you're my program, that's what I always aim to achieve. It is not about just memorizing a formula. It's about understanding how to use it. So with that said, let's go ahead here and let that person in, and let's keep it going. So here's the quick crash course. Distance is an amount. Everybody, anything that you can achieve, like an actual distance or any amount of anything, that can be considered a distance. So I know that sounds pretty vague, and I'm going to be very quick here because, again, this is a slight review, but I want to make sure that I'm getting these main points across. So if you need to, very quickly, if you're here for the first time, I would really recommend taking a screenshot after, let me highlight that, and that. Cool. So I would love for you to go ahead and take a picture or a screenshot of this. If, again, this is your first class, these are really the most important pieces of notes that you're going to take today. Most important. As long as we work to understand the fundamentals behind this formula right here, we're good. We are good because everything that follows is literally based off of this. So I hope you have a smile on your face, because if you have ever been nervous about word problems before, and this is your first class, I'm really hoping that this becomes like a Disney experience of math for you. I'm serious. So let's go ahead and have some fun. So distance. Again, distance is an amount. And this is the shortened version of last week's notes, but nonetheless, it's still complete. Distance is, again, any amount that you can achieve. Typically, the examples that we're looking at are like miles, yards, kilometers. Those are true distances, right? True distances. But they can also be things like teddy bears or an amount of cars that you have in a parking lot. Because as long as there is a rate attached to that distance, it's a distance. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. But this is really important to note down. It can also be any amount that has a rate. I'll explain what that means in a few. But up next here, let's really talk about the elephant in the room. Like, this is really what the party is all about. It's all about the rate, in my opinion. Because the thing is, you can have a distance in a non-distance rate time problem. So I'm going to just ask you guys a series of questions, and I'm going to really point out exactly what I mean here. So let me go ahead and open this chat box up. I think I got the troll out of here, hopefully. But with that said, has anybody over here done a problem where, yeah, there are inches or centimeters or kilometers or feet or miles, but it wasn't a distance rate time problem? Have you ever done one like that? Right? We all have. Like, for example, let's go ahead and talk about an area problem. An area problem could say, hey, this rectangle is 3 feet by 4 feet. Hey, I just saw feet. How is that not distance rate time, right? So the thing is, just because there's a distance measurement in there, it doesn't always automatically make it a distance rate time problem. I want to make that very clear. It's the rate. That's what you're looking for. If there is a rate in there, that is a clear sign that that is a distance rate time problem. Okay? So a rate is what gives it away. So let me go ahead and point that out for you right here. Rates give away that it is a distance equals rate times time problem. That is the giveaway, okay, my party people? That is the giveaway. So I want to make sure you understand that. Everybody, when you have that written down, go ahead and say got it in the chat box for me really quick, please, because I really want to make sure you got that. Really want to make sure you got that. Cool. So let's talk about, really what the rate is, because we talk about rate all the time, but what is it? How do we point it out? What are the giveaways? I got you right here. Here's your crash course. So essentially, here's what's going on. Basically, the rate is the speed you're accomplishing the distance. And I'll give you a couple of examples here. So if the problem is about how many miles you're driving, the rate would be miles per hour. If you're talking about how many cars a dealership is selling, per day, the rate would be cars per day. How many cars are being sold per day? So for everyone who was here before and knows what I'm about to say, shut up. Just be quiet for 2 seconds. For those of you who are here for the first time, what's the pattern that you noticed when I wrote down those two rates over there? What's the pattern that you recognize? What did you notice there? The word per, right? The word per really does give it away. The giveaway here is the word per. The word per gives it away. Because what the word per does is it connects two units. It connects the distance, something like miles or cars, with a time unit like hours or days. The big giveaway is the word per. I shut the chat box down again for a moment, just for safety precautions. But yeah, that's the big giveaway. So with that said, I hope that makes sense. We're going to move on to the next slide now, but I am going to give you 5 seconds to go ahead and take a screenshot. We'll give you 5 more seconds here to take that screenshot, and we will move forward. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and keep it going. So here's a piece of note that if you were here last week, so for parts 1 or part 2 or both, you may have seen me go over these notes, and I may have gone over them, for a good 5-10 minutes. But today is where it really matters. Today is where this matters the most. So here's the big thing, man. I can't say it louder than this. Represent the formula the same way. So all this means, don't freak out. This is not anything crazy. It's just a reminder. Don't think about this as another formula. This is just a piece of sense that you want to attach to distance, rate, time. Really for all formulaic things, but particularly today since we're doing distance, rate, time. So on one end, look, if we're trying to represent the same things the same way, you may recognize that. If the problem that we're setting up, the formula that we're setting up is to find, Bethany's time, well, then we just need to make sure we use Bethany's distance and Bethany's rate. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy. If you're going to be looking for Bethany's time, use Bethany's distance and Bethany's rate. If you see, Carlos's distance or Carlos's rate or Carlos's time, you can't plug that in unless you know that it's actually supposed to fit. But you have to be consistent unless there's a clue that gives away a relationship. You may want to jot that down. You keep it consistent unless there's a relationship. We're going to go over that today. So next up, again, on the other hand, just another example. If you're trying to find the time for, let's say, the entire trip, then you need to use the distance that represents the entire trip and the rate, the average rate for the whole trip. That's all I'm saying. Keep the formulas consistent, represent the correct formulas in the same way. So if this one's Bethany, all Bethany. If this one's Carlos, all Carlos. So I know I can't see you, but just nod at the screen if that makes sense. And don't worry, we're still going to review this plenty. So this is the part of class where we are done at 6:30 already, so perfect timing. I got this all scheduled out. So after that part now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over 3 brief warm-up examples. And then after these 3 warm-up examples, we're going to jump straight into some review from part 1. All we're going to do is we're going to take, it's going to be a pretty short amount of time. It's going to feel that way, about a minute and a half, depending on the problem. And we're going to try our best. But we're only going to do that for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to get into today's practice. So let's go ahead and take a look at part 1 over here, where we are looking at our first example problem. Now, everybody, the chat box is open. What is the first thing that we always want to do with any word problem? Big or small, hard or easy? What's the first thing we always want to do? I love it. I got you guys. I got you guys hooked on the right basic strategy. I love it. So right there, read the question. That is correct. So the reason that we want to read the question is because the information that they give you does not matter until you know why it's useful. The goal of this here, or the ASVAB itself, is to get as many questions correct as possible. It's not to read stories. It's not to, get enamored with details of a problem. No, it's about getting the question correct and quickly, to use whatever strategies you need to use. The quickest way to get something done is to first know what you're supposed to find, then figure out how to find it. You don't know what you're supposed to find until you read the last sentence. Go straight to the end every single time. Right here it says, how far did the car go? I didn't even know we're talking about a car in this problem, but I really know that we're looking for how far it went. Everybody, does that make sense? Start with the question sentence. Because that 110 doesn't matter, that 3.5 don't matter. Does not matter at all. It is only there to cause you anxiety. I promise you. It's only there to cause you anxiety until you actually know what you're supposed to do. So highlight that right there. First step is, what do I want? How far did the car go? And let me write that right there. How far? Everybody, the word or phrase, how far, indicates that we're looking for what? Indicates that we're looking for a distance. I think intuitively that makes sense. Intuitively that makes sense. Now, for those of us out here, especially some of us that are here for the first time, is there anybody here for the first time being like, well, how far? That didn't immediately come off as distance in my head. Is there anybody here feeling that way? Like the word how far, or the phrase how far, didn't immediately just pop up as distance. That's okay. I mean, yeah, so we have one person that said yes. Some people might be shy. That's okay. Everybody else who's saying no has been here some different classes I see so far. And I have another couple of yeses or kindas. Okay. So what I want to lead into with this is just how to really build your confidence. If that didn't make sense, if the phrase how far didn't give away that it's distance, you can look somewhere else. Everybody, because we're in the question sentence, there's this thing called units that have to be included. Sometimes the problem gives away the units in the question sentence, and sometimes they give it away in the answer choices. So if you ever had a doubt as to what kind of a unit you're looking for, look at the answer choices. It all says kilometers. It all says kilometers. So everybody, just plain old kilometers, not hours, not kilometers per hour, just kilometers. What is that an example of? A distance, a rate, or a time? And that's how we want to handle it. And that's how we want to handle it. So boom, right there. So step 1, we are looking for distance. We have proved it 2 ways. 1, the question sentence says how far, but number 2, the answer choices say kilometers just by itself, so that has to be a distance. So we're looking for blank kilometers. Everybody, so far so good. Can we move forward now? And again, for those of us just stepping in with us, just recently or a little late into the class, no worries, welcome in. Today, again, we are reviewing part 1 from last week, but we are doing part 3, brand new type of question. So hang tight if you have been here to the other classes. So we're doing a nice review here. We're looking for distance. Step 2, everybody, it just says the word have up there. Everybody, when I say have, what am I talking about? What is step 2 all about? What are we trying to do in step 2? What are we trying to do? Exactly. We're trying to gather information. We're trying to gather information because guess what? In step 3, we're making a connection. So once we know the starting point and the ending point, it's going to be up to us to build that treasure map all the way through. So let's go ahead and point out the information we have. A car travels at an average rate. Everybody, is that a keyword? Is the word rate a keyword? Yeah. So an average rate of 110 kilometers per hour. Everybody, what's another dead giveaway that we're dealing with a rate? Ooh, you guys are sharp, man. You guys are sharp. You guys have been paying attention. I love it. The word per gives it away. So there we are. We have rate equals 110 kilometers per hour. We can be confident that that is a rate. And then it says over a period, which the word period in the sense of English means a period of time, but a period of 3.5 hours. Now, everybody, I know it's a somewhat obvious question, but the 3.5 represents what? Right, represents time. It represents time. I'm glad that we were able to do that without much of a fuss. But 3.5 hours, that's going to be time. So for those of you that are, again, here and a bit anxious about setting up the formula, thinking that, hey, I get the information, but I'm still kind of nervous about setting it up. So this is what we really want to look at, okay? What we want to look at here is this right here. We want to plug in the right pieces into the formula. That is all we are trying to do. We are just trying to, again, fit in the right pieces into the right things. So now that we set this up, that's the only job we have. We have the rate right here given to us as 110. And we have the time given to us as 3.5 hours. As 3.5 hours. That's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this in. Watch how straightforward it is. It's very straightforward. Just got to be careful. I'm looking for distance, so I'm not going to replace it with anything. That's what I'm looking for. Then the rate is 110. Time is 3.5. And that's it. Now we actually perform the mathematics. But at this point, is anybody here nervous about their ability to calculate with decimals? Is anybody here nervous about that? And be honest. My expectation is about like 4 out of 10 of us to have troubles with decimals. And that's okay. That's completely fine. I want you to recognize where you're having troubles, because once you recognize what you need to work on, then it's a lot easier to work on said task. So with that, let's go ahead and get to it here. 110 times 3.5. 0 times 5, that's going to be 0. So right here, that's going to be 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Very difficult. Then we put a 0 for the next round. 0 times 3. 1 times 3. Excuse me there. 3. And then 1 times 3. It's going to be 3 right there. Bam. We go ahead and add that up, and we're going to be all set. 0, 5, 8, and 3. And then everybody, what do we do at the end? Because notice, we just ignored that decimal. We didn't care about it at all. What do we do at the end when it comes to multiplying decimals? We ignore the decimals, and then we bring them back. Yeah, we go ahead and bring them back. And here's how you do that. We have 1 decimal right there, 1 decimal place. We bring 1 decimal place back. Boom, 385. And we're good. So we have 385 what, everybody? 385 what? Kilometers. That's how far the car traveled. And there's our answer right there, D. So for anybody here who was who was nervous about this, does that make sense? Is that fair to understand? Is that fair to understand? Perfect. Sounds good. I love the comments. So we have some people with anger management issues that are clearly closeters here. And again, that's what math can do to you. But remember, with a little bit of Anderson in your life, your math skills could improve. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into the part 2 here. Question number 2. The goal here is go ahead and take the next minute here. All I want you to do is this. Tell me what you're looking for. What's the question asking you to find? And write down the information. I think that's more than enough time to get that done. And I'm also still talking. So let me go ahead and get the timer ready for you. In 1 minute, I would appreciate if you could go ahead and write down in your paper what you're looking for and the information you have that's going to get you there. There's your 1 minute timer. And again, go ahead and take your time. Cool. And if you want to work ahead, think you can do the math, go ahead. Try to get it done. Try to get it done. You're good. Let's see. We got 30 seconds here. And looking at our final 4, 3. So first thing you're going to type in, not the answer. It's not going to be the answer. The first thing you're going to answer for me is this. Everybody, in 5 seconds, type in, but don't hit enter. Type in, but don't hit enter. What are we looking for? 5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead. What is it that we're looking for in this problem? Because here's the thing, as sincere and as simple of a question that may be, this is really the first step, your first line of defense against test anxiety. Test anxiety can appear in all different forms and sizes. We all know that, or most of us know that. But the thing is, you have options. Like, you have things that you can do to combat that. And one of the main ones is having a basic strategy that you always resort to. So, for example, this basic strategy is understand the goal, understand your information. I don't care how confused or how much how nervous I am. I can still do that. I can still read a sentence. I can still read a question. What right here it says is, how long was the boat traveling for? So even if we don't know exactly what that's telling us, what unit that is, we can see that in the answer choices, we see that it just says hours. So Marshall, I'll call you by your last name. So Marshall, if you take a look here, the key words are, how long were we traveling for? So how long was I traveling to the store for? Or how long was I away for? You might think of that, you might think time. And to confirm that, if you look at the answer choices, you just see hours. So for anybody here who had something other than time, do you understand that the goal of the problem is to figure out time? Right on, Marshall. Anybody else? Glenda, I saw the O there. All good? Oh, yeah, the parentheses definitely helps out here, yeah. So let's go ahead and check out now part 2. So part 1 is, what are we looking for? We're looking for time. Time equals blank hours. Great. Part 2, what information do we have? And we take a look at the problem, and it says, hey, a boat traveling at an average speed of 30 knots. Well, here, I got some keywords I want to point out. Everyone, what's another word for rate? Not the keyword, not the keyword, not the keyword. What's another word for rate? Nope, I'm looking for the word per. Not looking for the word per. Abrea, yeah. Alexander, thank you. Speed. Dominic, thank you. Speed. Abimail, thank you. Speed. Rodney, Lewis, speed. That is correct. That is correct right there. So you take a look at this and you see that it says average speed. That's a giveaway that you're looking at a speed or a rate or a pace. Then you see 30 knots. And even if you're looking at knots and you're saying, what the heck, 30 knots? Like, what is this, a massage therapist school? No. If you look at the parentheses right next to it, you're going to see that it says nautical miles per hour. You take a look at right there, nautical miles per hour. Everybody, what's that key word? Thanks for laughing at that. But what's the key word that we're looking for? Yeah, it's going to be the word per. It's going to be the word per. That's what gives it away. So we have all of these different things lining up for us. Average speed. nautical miles per hour. So we can fight through any of those feelings of uncertainty, and we can look at that and we can say for certain that everybody, 30 knots is a what? Is a rate. Exactly. So our rate in this question, I'm not going to write the nautical miles per hour, but you can just say, yeah, like it's just basically water miles per hour. That's all knots means, like miles per hour in the water. So with that, we see that it says it eventually travels 360 nautical miles. So with that said, everybody, nautical miles, that is a what? Right, that's going to be a distance. That's going to be a distance. It just says nautical miles. It's 1 unit. Nautical miles just means, again, for just simplicity's sake, miles in the water. That for simplicity's sake, we'll just keep it to that. So here, 360 nautical miles. Okay. So with that said, everybody, do we have enough information to solve this problem? Yes or no? Do we have enough information to solve this problem? Yes, we do. All we have to do, plug this in and we're done. Boom. Again, know your formula, know where to plug things in. D equals R times T. Everybody, is it true that all you got to do is plug things into the right places? And so the formula will be distance equals the rate 30 times 360, and that'll be your answer, right? 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 Why are you guys saying no? Why are you acting like I'm just trying to trick you? Why do you guys act like you hate me, man? Come on. What are you talking about? That's right. That's right. No, I'm not. I can't ruin anybody's day. No, in this case, that's not correct. That's not correct. Everybody, what did I place in the wrong spot? What did I ignore? Right. In this case, we're gonna have to divide to get the correct answer, because notice how the mistake that I made was I assumed that the 360 just belonged in the time on the same side of the equation. That's not the case. Notice what it says. It says, okay, if I definitely don't need them now. That says distance equals 360. Where is distance? Right there. And so what we'll need to do is replace that with 360. That's gone. That's just time. This right here at the end, that's just gonna be T for time, and this right here should be 360. That's where that belongs. Everybody, yes or no, do we understand the mistake? No confusion, coach. No worries. Because look, sometimes I'm gonna do this on purpose. I'm gonna make not an obvious mistake, but I'm gonna make a mistake that I know I've made to try to get a conversation sparked. Because when it comes to learning, or the process by which we process information and learn from it, if we can talk about it, we are much more likely to grow from it. So I do this to initiate a conversation. I don't do this to be mean or to try to, make anybody mad. That's really not the goal. If at some point that does happen, I truly do apologize. My goal is to spark a conversation about the material at hand. That way we can at least get a little stronger at it. Because if we're going to apply the domain of communication along with practice and note-taking and time, we add all those learning domains together, and I'm telling you, success is coming way faster than it would have before. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Hope that makes sense. Again, I've been doing this for like 12, 13 years at this point. I know how it works. I got a master's degree in this. Please trust the process. So here we go. We have 360 equals 30t. We're looking at this and we're saying, hey, that t is not by itself. There's that 30 in the way. How do we kick that 30 out of there? How do I get that out of there? What do I have to do? Divide both sides by what? By 30. Right, because what's currently happening is 30 times t. So to get rid of the 30, we divide it out. And that's exactly what we'll do here. Divide by 30 on both sides. Cross that out. And we're going to have ourselves t equals what? Well, the zeros cancel. 36 divided by 3 is 12. Notice what it just did there, a small little mental math trick that a lot of people do know, but not everybody always applies. If you have zeros at the end of both of your numbers, hey, and you're dividing, cross those zeros out. That's like dividing both of them by 10, gives you a much easier time. And then you have 36 divided by 3. Hopefully, a lot of us know that that's going to be 12 without the use of long division. So boom, we are good. T equals 12. 12 what, everybody? Help me out again. 12 hours. That's correct. 12 hours. That is correct. Boom. And there's our answer. It is D. Cool. So with that said, again, is this sincere? These are problems where, again, what we're doing is we are just given 2 of the 3 pieces of information. We have to organize it accordingly, solve, and be done. Are these pretty straightforward to you so far? Even if you're here for the first time, I'm really more interested in people that are here for the first time. Is this straightforward? That's really my main question. Great. Now it's time to almost ruin your day. So what we're going to be doing now is we're gonna go ahead and practice. I'm joking, guys. So we're going to be learning this. We're going to be going ahead and having fun. We're going to practice this for a little bit, okay? We're going to practice this under a timer, and then at about 7:05, I have our chart here. At 7:05, we're going to be introducing that brand new type of problem. So this is going to be your time to shine right here. We're practicing what we know, but then we're going to take a little more time to introduce what we are going to be looking at, okay? So let's go ahead and put our serious hats on here. We're going to time ourselves, and I'm going to give you exactly 1.5 minutes to do as much as you can. Now, let me explain very clearly what my expectations are. So let me get this here. Cool. So I got you guys set up with 1.5 minutes. So here's my expectation. My expectation for these problems are as follows. It is to go through the progression. It is not to get the correct answer. It is to see how much of the progression you can go through in that amount of time. So here's an example. Like if we were going through this problem and you see this magical timer change to 1 minute and it's counting down 1 minute 30 seconds, your goal is not to frantically go through and say, okay, I'm going to pick an answer. No, it's to see how much of the basic strategy you can employ. For example, look at the timer, it's still going. I'm going to take my time here, and I'm going to calmly approach the situation like I would expect you on the ASVAB test. Step 1, what do I want? So nobody type into the chat box, just watch and learn. Step 1, what was the car's average speed? Okay. Average speed, I'm looking for rate. And if I needed some reassurance, the word per is all up in the answer choices. We're good. So I'm looking for rate. And I'm even going to write this out, even though I don't need to. I'm going to waste some time to show you how smooth this can be. 400 kilometers in 4 hours. Okay, 400 kilometers, that's a distance. Okay, right there. And then my time is 4 hours. Okay, so now that I know that there's a rate here involved in this problem, there's a distance and there's a time, I'll set up the distance equals rate times time formula. So distance equals rate times time. I'll even say a couple of other words that don't need to be said just to waste a couple more seconds. Plug in the right things in the right places. And then the last thing I'll do is divide both sides by 4 to get the rate by itself. So by doing that, we have 100 equals the rate. And we have A as the answer. And time's up. I took exactly 1 minute 30 seconds, but notice that I deliberately talked about every single step that was going on in my head to show you that you can do this. And you don't have to be frantic when you do it either. You can take a calm, cool, and collected approach as long as you follow the three basic steps of this very, very fundamental strategy. So everybody, yes or no, was that smooth to you? Did that make sense? Because again, I'm not selling this strategy as like some magic conch shell or something. Like that's not how this works. It's something that you repeatedly do and practice until it becomes second nature to you, until you're doing this for every problem, no matter what it is. Yeah, Bria, no worries. Cool. So great. I'm glad you guys are all in with this because that's how I want you to apply the strategy. So what we're going to do, very quickly, again, if you're here and you're here for the first time, I really do recommend that you get the full program. I'm going to take 20 seconds really quick to talk about this. But if you're looking to get all the classes and beyond, So I'm talking all the recordings. I'm talking about extra courses, a progress book, weekly progress reports sent to you directly, having the ability to text me whenever you need help. Like basically having everything except the actual studying done for you. Like this is how easily it can be. So you get like this is not even the best way to describe it. I think this is the best way to describe it in terms of all the features that you get. So if you want to just take a quick picture and just remind yourself of what all of these features are, feel free to go ahead and again refer to this. I'll show this first one here, this first part. But again, things like live classes 3 days a week, 2 hour long classes, you get all the recordings. You can ask all the questions that you want here. You get time practice and things. But when we're looking at everything else beyond the classes, you get courses for all of the AFQT subjects and general science. And on top of that, your progress dashboard, the math basics, over 15,000 questions. If you're in the program, go ahead and just say, does it suck or is it okay? Or any other words that you would say to describe the program. But long story short, everybody, I have been working on this every day for the past 4 years, and where it's at now is going to continue getting better. Like it's insane. So these are again all of the features that you get with it. I'll be talking about this at the end of class, but if you cannot wait until the end of class, I am going to post this link in the chat box. Yeah, and the price is actually like it's even better because I actually provide, and I can say this with absolute certainty now, I provide a better ASVAB course than Kaplan at this point when it comes to the AFQT, and I charge less than them by like 70%. It's crazy. And on top of that, you can get it monthly, year, or lifetime. And tonight only, you can take $150 off of the year and $200 off of the lifetime. Anybody who gets a lifetime bundle today, they will get a free ASVAB shirt or hoodie of their choice. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in the chat box. Again, if you're interested in that, there's the link. There are the coupon codes. We have monthly, yearly, and lifetime. The yearly and lifetime coupons expire tonight at midnight. They basically take an extra 50% off of the already huge discount that's already applied. So there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and close the chat box now for a brief moment. That's everything you need. Take a look at that information, copy that, or whatever you need to do to make that happen. But let's get to the meat of this first part of class. Number one, you're going to have 1.5 minutes to do these problems. And here's how it's going to work. We're going to go through it. I'm going to let you try it. At the end, I'm going to circle the correct answer. I'm going to write the formula, and we're moving on. I'm not going to solve it. I'm not going to do anything else. This is what's called a drill set. We've already reviewed every step of every type of problem, and now it's up to us to practice. We're doing this for the next 12 minutes, and then we're moving forward into today's new topic. But again, before we begin, if you are interested in the program, sign up. Seriously, you won't regret it. I will be with you every step of the way. So just make sure that you don't overlook this. I know I'm trying to get to the class stuff and really get into it, but it is way too important that you're supported every step of the way. So go ahead and consider that. But with that, if you're ready for this practice, type whatever you want in the chat box to let me know that you're excited. And Jessica, please do not type that your drywall is already broken, please. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Those videos are stuck in my head. Ronnie Coleman. All right, here we go. Let me get the timer up. And let me get my ugly face out of the way. And remember, when you're done, just type ready when you're ready. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Just type ready when you're ready. All right, and that is time. So even if you're not done and you didn't get an answer, go ahead and say if you were confident or not while you were going through the process. Because if you just needed an extra 30 seconds to get the correct answer to finish calculating, that's cool. That's fine. But I really want to make sure that you're on the right track at the very least. The correct answer is going to be my party people D, 15 miles per hour. The correct setup for this problem would have been 180 equals your rate times 12. That would have been the correct setup. That would have been the correct setup. Again, we're not reviewing every aspect because we want to get as many problems in as we can here. 3, 2, 1. Next problem. Let's get it in, my party people. Let's go. Remember, start with the question sentence. Identify what you're looking for and go forward from there. You got this. All right, great job so far, everybody. We've got 5 seconds, 4, 3, answers, go ahead. And again, if you were not quite done with the calculation process or the setup, just tell me, were you confident or were you stuck? Were you on the way to the correct answer or did you get stuck? Because the correct answer is going to be A, 50 miles per hour. And so the way that we set this up is average speed per, that's a dead giveaway that we're looking for the rate. And then from there, 350 miles is the distance. We're looking for the rate, and we have 7 as the time. There's your setup. You solve that, and you get A, 50 miles per hour. All right, my party people. So we're going to go ahead and do one more of these. Or would you guys like to do 3 more of these before we move on to the next big idea here, the one that's the main topic of today? Would you want 1 more or 3 more? Go ahead and give it your vote. So far, it's okay. Whoa, a lot more ones came in, more threes came in. Okay, so because it's half and half, I'd rather give you the 3, and we're going to try to speed up the process. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Here's number 1. We're going to do 2 more after this. Go, go, go. And after this question, we're going to reduce it to 1 minute per question. But again, it's not important to get the correct answer. It's just knowing how far you can get confidently. All right, my party people, time is up for this next one here. The correct answer is going to be D, 292.5 kilometers. And the way that we do this is how far. We're looking for distance. Our rate is 65. Our time is 4.5. And the only thing that may have made this problem a little cumbersome was the actual calculation. That may have been the only thing that probably made it a little more difficult. So that's 65 times 4.5. That may have been it right there. So D equals 65 times 4.5 to get to 292.5 kilometers. There's your answer. There's your work. Let's get into this next one here, my party people. 3, 2, 1. Let me actually reduce the time here by 1 minute here. So let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we have it exactly at 1 minute. Let's go. Four, 3, 2, and 1. What is our answer here? All right, so in this question, our answer here is going to be B, 15 miles per hour, because we have a distance of 90 miles in 6 hours. That's our time. Average speed, we are looking for the rate. So because of that, we set this up and it'll be 90 equals R times 6. And we'll divide by 6 on both sides to get that done. So we have, I believe, one more to do here. Yeah, one more to do. Last one here, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it in, my party people. Let's go. How are we doing, guys? Where's that answer? What do we have? What do we have? Okay, we chose A. That is the correct answer here. A is the correct answer. Again, the setup would have been, we're looking for the distance. We are given the rate right here, and here's the time period. We're looking for the distance. And so that would be 15 times 2.5, and that's what would eventually get us to our answer. So that's perfect timing there. 7:10 exactly. I'm pretty good on time today. I think it said 7:05 before. That was me misspeaking. But there we are, everybody. So how are we feeling? Again, it's not about getting the correct answer and knowing how to do it the fastest in a minute. It's really just about how far you were able to get through compared to where you would have been without today's lesson so far. So how are we feeling so far? Seriously, we still have 50 minutes left. We're going to get into a brand new set of problems that are really going to show you that you've seen these problems before, but now you're going to know how to do them. And that's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be really exciting at that point. It's good. It's scary. I'm getting better slowly. How is it scary? How is it scary that we're getting better? The point is, it's true that if we work on some things, that you will get better at those things. And math is no different. A lot of us think that math is so scary because we haven't learned it the proper way, or have learned how to appreciate it the right way. But I'm hoping that I'm just, one person in your life that kind of just pushes you in the right direction of seeing math as a way to describe the world around us. So with that said, let's take a look at the kind of problem that has been giving a lot of people a lot of trouble before, but today, not going to be the case. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to first go to the problem directly. So let's go ahead and go straight here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a full 2 minutes to get this problem done. Okay? I'm going to give you a full 2 minutes to get this done. Just get as far as you can. Get as far as you can. And the reason I'm doing this without giving you any training is simply to see how you react like you would on the test to seeing a problem that you've never seen before. All right, looking at a final 5, 4, take a guess if you have to. It's all good. I want everybody to give an answer here. Go. Even if it's a guess, take a guess. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I want to see what you can do here. What can you muster up? Because if you can get lucky on the test, then that's not a bad thing, is it? Not a bad thing at all. So let's check this out. That's not a part of people in here. So let's check this out. And before we do, I want to ask how many of us here were looking at this problem and just kind of buckled? How many of us got a little bit of test anxiety? Right? A little bit to a lot. Me. And again, this tends to happen when we are doing something that we're not used to doing. So I'm glad that we were able to elevate ourselves from the very beginning of those basic problems, those regular fundamental distance rate time problems, because the thing is, everybody, are there easy questions on the ASVAB? Not all of them are easy, but are there easy questions? Yeah, you guys are saying no. There we go. There are. If you say, let's say you have 16 questions, at least 2 of them are going to be easy. Like, you're going to have some questions that are easy. And so if you're doing an easy distance rate time problem, knowing how to do something like that really, really, really helps, because it will be that straightforward. Plugging, solving, and you're done. Some of them will be that easy. Don't expect all of them or even half of them to be that easy, but there are low-hanging fruit that you do want to be prepared for. Now, once we learn that, we can build into the more complicated problems. And so knowing the fundamentals is really going to help us out here. Now, if I had to count or give an estimate, I believe that was at least 50 people that said that they got test anxiety doing. No, that's at least 60. Jeez. Maybe 70. Okay, yeah, there was quite a few people that said that they were nervous. So let's go ahead and go through this and show you why, if you continue applying these strategies and you continue practicing these different scenarios, you can still look at a brand new problem and get it right. For example, if this is your first time seeing something like this, watch how we can make sense of it. Step one, help me out. Even though this is a brand new problem, what should I do first? Right, so notice how that strategy didn't change. No matter what, we're still going to be reading the question first. Same deal. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Doesn't matter if we've seen it before or not. We're still going to go right here. How long did, he's red actually. How long did the trip home take if the trip to the beach took 11 hours? Now, I'm going to be very careful about how I highlight that question because I only care about this. How long did the trip home take? Everybody, what are we looking for? In that red highlight, what is it that we're looking for? Right, we're looking for time. And if we needed anywhere else to really support that, where would we look? Right, we would look at the answers. If we look at the answers right over there, we see that we have, hey, hours, 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 and hours. Okay, cool. So we're looking for the time, but look at something specific here, because notice how we're also given another time right there. So it looks like since we have more than one time, the time that we're looking for and also the time that we're given, everyone, do you think we might want to organize our information? Right? Just by looking at that, we might want to organize the information because specifically it says here, how long did the trip home take? And then it says the trip to the beach. That's interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and organize this information the right way. So number one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to the beach. And then over here on the right side, I'm going to say back home. And there's going to be some relationships between this, but this is the first thing that we really want to write down. Just that there's a difference. There's going to be different scenarios that we're looking at. Now, everybody, the answer that we're looking for, how long did the trip home take? Are we putting that, where? The one on the left or one on the right? Which one are we putting it in? The time that we're looking for? Which spot, which column, the one on the left or the right? Which one? Which one are we putting that under? The information that we're looking for, the trip home, the time for the trip home, we are going to be putting that on the right side. We're putting it on the right here. Back home, trip home. We're looking for the time that the trip home took. Does that make a little more sense there, guys? Again, the question says the trip home. How long did the trip home take? So we're going to be putting that right there under the trip home. So notice I'm being very careful about how I'm expressing this to you. I'm not going to take anything for granted. I'm not going to assume that you're going to pick anything up instantly. I want to make sure I go through each specific mini conclusion the right way. So that way, when we build up to the full picture, it all makes sense. So again, step one, we have to organize our information. We're looking for how long it took to get home. So that means time. And we'll put that in the space to get home. Not over there, but over here. Next, notice how it says trip to the beach took 11 hours. So 11 hours, we have a time frame. Where does that belong? Where does that 11 hours belong? Here or there? Some of us are saying to the left. Is that correct? Can we confirm that? To the beach? Sounds good. I like that we can agree on that. That's good to see. So, yep, that's going to be time equals 11 hours. Okay. So before I continue, everybody, yes or no, do we understand that in this problem, we're dealing with a distance rate time problem that has two different scenarios? In one scenario, we're going to the beach. In another scenario, we are going back home. Yes or no, does that make sense before I continue? Cool. I'm glad. So what we're going to do next now is we're going to process all of the information. We know what we want. We already started writing down some information we have, but now we're going to take it all in. And it's not really just going to be as simple as writing down the distances and the rates and the times. It's going to be about the connections that we're going to establish. Because think about it, 9 times out of 10, if a problem gives you extra information, it might be connected in some way. So let's see how this works. It says Elizabeth here. Elizabeth biked to the beach and back home on the same route. Everyone, what might that mean to you? What might that hint at? What might that make it easy to assume? What could we discern from this right here? So, biked to the beach, back home, same route. I'm going to circle that right there. Same route. What does that give away? Okay, so I see some of us are getting that in, getting understand that. Okay, so let's see if we can get more people to open up here and understand what's going on. Everyone, quick question. If I'm going ahead, let's say I'm best friends with, let's go ahead and say someone in this chat box here. Let's say I'm best friends with Rashawn. Rashawn, what's going on, man? So let's say I'm best friends with Rashawn, and let's say that Rashawn, my bad, Louis, I saw you the last second. So if we go to Rashawn's house, let's say I took the same route to Rashawn's house as back home. So the exact same route that I took to his place, I came the same way back home. Everybody, if it's 15 miles from my place to Rashawn's place, and I went there, how many miles is it back home? The same, right? 15. If it's 15 miles to his house, it's 15 miles from his house back home. If it's the same exact route, you're implying that it's the same distance. And so here's what we can do with that information. Because at some point, if we need to fill in the distance back home for the formula, well, guess what, my party people? We now know that these distances are the same. And so if I know this, I can plug that in over there. Do you see the opportunity we have or the movement that we can make if we need to, everybody? So if it just so happens that we need the distance here, if we have that distance, we can take that and plug it in here if we needed to. Everybody, does that make any sort of sense at all? Because it's the same route, that distance is the same as this distance. That's all I'm saying. Yes or no, does that make sense? Because it's the same route, it's the same distance. That's all we're saying. Because that's going to be very important in a few moments. Because that's actually how this problem is going to be solved. That's actually how this problem is going to be solved. Watch this. So look. It's all good, Philip, because again, this is how we learn, man. It's how we learn. It's all good. So look, on the way there, it says Elizabeth biked at a rate of 10 miles per hour and biked at a rate of 55 miles per hour on the way back. So if we take a look here, let's write that down. It says 10 miles per hour. So everybody, this 10 miles per hour, should we mark that as to the beach or back home? What should we plug in? Yeah, to the beach, to the beach. So guess what? Right here, look, on the way there, rate 10 miles per hour. So I'll write that right there. My rate there to the beach, 10 miles per hour. Now, if we take a look on the way back, right here, 55 miles per hour on the way back. So we'll plug in the rate over here as 55 miles per hour. Does that make a little more sense, my party people, about how we're organizing this information? Okay. Now, this is the point in the problem that I'm really going to expose why it's so important to have your information organized and understanding what you're supposed to do with it. So look, if we were to just go ahead and just not really look at this, if we were to just only look at this, let's bring this in and just only look at this. Let's suppose that this is all the information we were given, everybody. Watch. I'm looking for time, so I'll put T equals T hours. But everybody, look, if I want to solve this, isn't it true that if I'm solving for time, isn't it true that if I'm solving for this, that I need this and I need this? Isn't it true that I need the other pieces of information if I want to find the missing piece? Right. What's the problem here, though? What's the problem here? If with just this information, what's the problem? If I want to solve for time, what is the problem? Gioni, thank you for being specific there. You need to know the distance. You can't just solve this for time. You don't have a distance. You have your rate, great, 55, awesome, but you don't have the distance. You can't plug it in. So this is where understanding this one little bit of bike to the beach and back home on the same route, that's where this becomes so important, because this means that we're dealing with the same distance both ways. And so knowing that, what we can do, this is the great thing about this, we can solve for the distance in here. And once we have this, boom, then we can solve for the other one. So watch this now. Here we go. Let's solve it here. Distance equals rate times time. Everybody, what am I plugging in for the rate and the time for this side here to the beach? What am I plugging in for the rate? What number am I plugging in for the rate? 10. Great. And for the time, I'm plugging in what? 11. Sounds great. Everybody, 10 times 11 gives us what? 110. And 110 miles is that distance. And again, what we clearly said, everybody, what we clearly said was that if we find the distance to the beach, that means that we automatically now know what? If we find the distance to the beach, we now know what? Now that we know the distance to the beach, we now know the distance. What do you mean? What do you mean the distance? What about what? Like I just told you the distance, 110 miles. What does that mean? There we go, TJ. Yeah, the distance for the other side. Because again, you took the same route. So since you know this right here is 110, you know that this over here is also 110. That was the connection that we made. And because we know that, I know we took a little bit of time to get here, but now that we know that, we can set up this distance equals rate times time formula and be done. Because the distance that we have is 110, the rate that we have is 55 times t, and now all we have to do is divide both sides by 55, and we're done. Everyone, what's 110 divided by 55? How many times does 55 fit into 110? That's going to be a clean 2 times. 55 times 2. 50 times 2 is 100. 5 times 2 is 10. 110. That's a clean 2 times. And that'll be t equals 2 hours. And this is, again, back home. And that's why over here, the correct answer is C, 2 hours. Very important to read the information, DeMario. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. But I want to know where our heads are at here in terms of understanding this question. How are we feeling about this question? You know, what was the biggest relationship that you understood or that was hard for you to understand? Was it the same route, meaning that you had the same distance? Was it knowing that you had to solve the distance over here first to then plug it in over there? How are we feeling? See, yeah, Lewis, that wouldn't have been the right way, right? Adding them and then dividing. If you were in part 2 last Tuesday, you might think that we're adding or subtracting the rates, but that's not the case. Because remember, when we're talking about 2 objects moving at the same time, yeah, we're going to be adding or subtracting the rates. But we're not talking about 2 objects here. We're talking about the same Elizabeth. It's Elizabeth in this scenario to the beach, and then later on, this scenario back home. It's a totally different scenario, totally different problem type than when you have 2 things moving at the same time. So you got to be careful there. And that's why tomorrow's class is going to be so much fun, because we're going to be throwing all of these things together. Yeah, more practice will definitely sharpen you up. So what was it? Knowing how to set it up like that? Needing more practice? You added. Okay, that's a clear mistake there. At first you went over the question fast and you got lost. Then you went back and you saw what you need to do. Right on. So Gioni, yeah, so this is not a same route, like, same direction kind of problem. It's the same person. It's not two things. It's one person on the way to the beach and all the way back home. That's it. Different type of problem. If they went a different route, Abimail, then they would have to give you more information to relate those two things. So let's go ahead and try another one here. We're gonna take our time here one more time, and then we're gonna start doing speed drill sets. But don't worry, we are going to get through this in the fashion of let's start with what we know how to do and keep building and pushing towards what we know we need help with. So let's go into this next one here. So same kind of words, the numbers have been changed, the names have been changed, and we might be asking for something different here. No, we're still asking for hours here, still the same what we're asking for, but it could be something different. It could be to the beach, could be back home. We don't know. So you have to pay attention. Everybody, tell me, we're looking for hours here, but is that going to be the hours for what? To the beach or back home? Right. So watch this. Again, read the question. How long did the trip to the beach take? So that's the main question. How long did the trip to the beach take? So right here, if I write this down, I'll write to the beach. And then I'll go ahead over here and write back home. So we're looking for the time to the beach. Everybody, yes or no? Quick in the chat box. We're looking for the time to the beach based off of that right highlight. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Now, what do we do with this? What do we write for this information right here? It says return trip took 5 hours. What letter do we write? What equals what, and where do we put it? Be specific. Quick. Where do we put that information? Where do we put that information? Is that a rate, Debbie? Maddie, is that a question or is that an answer? So what is that going to be? Everybody, let's go ahead and go through here. Everybody, what kind of a unit is just hours? What kind of a unit is just hours? Rodney, that's correct. Yeah, it's going to be a time. 5 hours is just time. And then, so we're looking, that gives us time. 5 hours is a time. But how do we categorize that? The return trip. It says return trip right there. So what we just discovered was that the 5 hours is time for back home. And that's how we'll write that out. Right here, under back home, under this one here, we'll put T equals 5 hours. Everybody agree or disagree? Are we good? Agree or disagree? Cool. Again, we're just trying to agree with these little points all the way up to the big solution. So up next, we read through the question here and it says, Ashley biked to the beach and back home on the same route. Everybody, what is that signal here? Bike to the beach, back home, same route. What does that mean? Yes, distance. What about the distance, Debbie? So Maddie says same distance. Yeah, the distances are going to be the same for both scenarios. The distance to the beach and the distance back home are going to be the same if we're taking the same steps, the same routes. So booyah. I don't know what the distance is, but I know that almost worked. If I can get this to work here and then do this, duplicate, point that way, perfect. Boom. These are the same distance. Okay, I can't say that enough. That same route, that really gives away that we're doing the same distance. Okay, so from there, although we don't know what distance is yet, we can keep reading through the information and we see that it says on the way there, Ashley biked at a rate of 10 miles per hour and biked at a rate of 14 miles per hour on the way back. Everyone, on which side should I put the 14 miles per hour? Again, listen carefully. The 14 miles per hour, should I put that on the beach or back home? Yep, on the way back. On the way back. 14 miles per hour on the way back. And then over here on the left side, we see that it says, hey, 10 miles per hour on the way there. On the way there. So the rate here is 10 miles per hour. So in this case, well, we're going to be focusing on this side because this is really what matters. This is us saying, hey, look, we're focusing on this side because we're saying we're looking for the time. I'm looking for the time to the beach, but I need the distance to the beach and the rate to the beach. I got the rate, but I don't have the distance. Because I don't have the distance, I'm going to be using my understanding that, they're the same distance to the beach and back home is the same thing. So if I figure out what this distance is, I can use it over here because it's the same distance over here. Everybody, one more time. Does that make a little more sense the second time around? That if I were to just take a quick detour, calculate this distance back home, I can plug that in for the distance to the beach. And that's the main clue there. That's the main clue for a problem type like this. Because now I can go ahead and say, hey, distance equals 14 times 5 in this case. And so everybody, 14 times 5, what's that going to be? Right? It's going to be 70. 14 times 5, you can do your quick mental math, or you can do long multiplication. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is the 7. And you can say the distance here is 70 miles. Everybody, if the distance back home is 70 miles, what else can we say is 70 miles? That's right, the distance to the beach. That's right. That's right. And so, boom, we can plug that in right there. And now we can go ahead and plug that in right here and solve. Distance equals rate times time. We have ourselves 70 equals 10 times t. Everybody, we divide both sides by 10. And we get ourselves what? T equals what? 7 hours. And t equals 7 hours. And there we are. And that would make it C as the correct answer. So, who here has a little bit of a confidence boost? From the beginning being that we are looking at this like, what the heck is this? To now being like, oh, these pieces as a whole make enough sense for me to be able to try this on my own. I might be able to try this on my own. I love the confidence, guys. I really do love the confidence. I really do love it. Perfect. And even if we're not quite there, do you have a sense of, okay, I look at this problem and at least I understand that the big clue is that I got to separate these out. One is to the beach and the other is back home. And the connection between them is that their distances are going to be the same. And that's how I can set this up. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, Maddie. No worries. But yeah, so that's the main idea, everybody. I'm glad you guys have been responding to this. So let's go ahead and I want to give you guys a shot here, okay? I'm going to put the timer up, but it's not going to be a timer of get the problem right in 2 minutes. No, it's going to be in 2 minutes. I want you to just explore and see how much you can confidently get through in 2 minutes. Number one, can you read the question and point out what you're looking for? Number two, can you write the information and sort it? If that's all you can do in 2 minutes, that's fine. Because that's a lot more than you were able to do an hour ago. So again, baby steps, small steps, keep building up. I'm going to give you 2 minutes here to try this out. So there's the timer starting now. And let me put the timer up. Just type ready when you're ready. Two, one, and time, my party people. So before I even get to solving this problem and kind of going through this, I really want to just get a good feel for where your head's at with this problem. So is this problem still doable to you? Did you finish the problem confidently? Did you get stuck? And if you got stuck, where did you get stuck? Like, let's have an honest conversation here in terms of where we are, because we've been through just two examples at this point, and I don't expect you to be superhuman yet. I do expect you to be human. So, where are we right now? How are we feeling? Do we feel like we got through this confidently? Do we feel like we got stuck somewhere? If so, where? I'll give it a second here. So, Jaylene, I feel confident waiting to go through it to see if I should be as you should be as confident. You should be able to trust yourself that you can trust your training. You got lost from me, so we'll go over this. I got you. Ron, you finished with confidence. You got stuck. So Wallace, you got stuck. And again, can we describe where we got stuck? So Emmeline, can we describe where we got stuck? Stuck on setting it up. Okay, what does that mean? So what do you mean? Like setting up the difference between the information for to the beach and back home? Was that the issue? So let's see what we got. So for those of us that say that we got lost, let's go ahead and take a look here. First up, again, I'm going to go through this as if I have a 2-minute timer on myself. Let's read the question first. Okay, it says, how long did the trip home take? So if I'm separating this, again, we have to the beach here and back home. So when you eventually read through the information, we've been doing this repetitively today, but we see that there are two different scenarios in the same problem. And so in red, I'll mark the trip home. I'll do that over here. So we're looking for the time to get home. And then over here on the left side, it says the trip to the beach, 11 hours. So again, to the beach, we have two different scenarios. We have to be able to organize this and recognize that we have two different scenarios. Remember in the beginning of class when I said, hey, if we're going to be talking about Bethany's time, we need Bethany's distance and Bethany's rate. If we're talking about Carlos's time, Carlos's distance, Carlos's rate. So here we're talking about Richard going to the beach and going back home. So if we're looking at the time and the rate and the distance to the beach, that's all together. And then the time and the distance and the rate back home, that should be together. So here, time to the beach, 11 hours. And if we keep going here, we see this is on the way there. So on the way to the beach, he biked at a rate of 24 miles per hour. So on the way there, rate was 24 miles per hour. And then back home, right here, 88 miles per hour on the way back. So the rate on the way back, 88 miles per hour. And then the big key here is, again, same route. So the same route means that this distance equals this distance. So who was able to get up to this correctly, where the 11 and the 24 were together to the beach, and then the 88 and the time that we're looking for are together on the right? Were we able to get to at least that point? Because if you were, you're good. Like you're really heading in the right direction, because you haven't seen this yet today. And now you're looking at this and you're saying, oh, at least I can organize this. That's huge. Like, that is huge. We really look forward to seeing that, because guess what the next step is? Getting the setup correctly and solving correctly. You're halfway there. So just because we don't have the answer right now doesn't mean that we're doomed. We're not. We're just taking steps. We're just at a certain step. We'll get there eventually. So here we know that if we find this distance, we can plug that in here and we can solve. So let's go ahead and solve on the left. D equals 24 times 11. Everybody, what's 24 times 11? If we do some mental math, 24 times 10 is 240, plus 24, 264. Is that correct? 264. Cool. So with a little bit of mental math, 264 miles. Again, if you want to learn mental math, get the program, Math Basics. That's the first thing I teach you. So we have 264 miles here that we'll plug in right there. So that's exactly what happened. Plug that right in. So now that we have that, we're good to go. Plug in your distance, your 264, equals your rate, which is 88, times the time that you're looking for. Now that you have that, bam, divide both sides by 88, and what we receive is right here. That cuts out, and our time is 3. 88 goes into 264 3 times. And so if you were stuck at this part and you were wondering, like, hey, how do I actually divide 264 by 88? You can definitely try using mental math techniques in terms of just simplifying. Those are both even numbers, divide by 2. Or if you know that they're both divisible by 4, divide by 4. If you think it's a clean division, do some guesswork. Times 2, times 3, times 4. Whatever strategy you use is really up to you when it comes to calculating. I'm going to teach you how to look at the best recommended strategy for specific situations, but you got to learn all the strategies first. So again, if you're in the program, get in there. But for those of us that were able to write down the information and got stuck at that part, did the solution make sense to you? Where I first solved for the distance over here, knowing I could plug it in for the distance over here. Once I had that, set up and solve. Did that make sense to you? Because again, this is a level like 7, 8 out of 10 problem. If I were to give this to you randomly in a test, this would be a level 7 out of 8, 7, 8 out of 10 problem, because you wouldn't be prepared specifically for that question. Good. You guys are giving good feedback. All right. So you guys ready to try another one out on your own? Yeah, it's starting to make sense now. Let's go, man. Let's go. So as a reminder, once you're done with today's class, for those of you that are in the program, the best way to continue moving forward is going to be right over here. Just kind of show you where we were. Boom. In the Arithmetic Reasoning Bootcamp course, again, the AR Bootcamp, I'm not always going to recommend skipping ahead if you're not done with the math basics. But if you go to Unit 5, distance, rate, time, right here, the unit checkpoint, this is where you want to really look at, okay? This is really where you want to look at. This checkpoint assignment right there. You're going to have all the problem types from part 1, part 2, and part 3 all mixed in together. There's your mixed practice, okay? There is your mixed practice. So really get in there and have fun with that. So let's go ahead and get back to the time practice. Let's go. Boom, 2 minutes starting now. Have fun. Oh, wait, let me actually see if there's a different. We'll do this one. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a little curveball in there. Or maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Timer starting now. All right, looking at our final 4, 3, 2, and 1. So what do we have as an answer, everybody? What do we have? What do we have? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and chat about this, everybody. So in this question, what is it that we are looking for, in your opinion? What do you think that we're looking for here? What do you think that we are looking for here? Yeah, we're looking for distance, right? We're looking for distance, but a little more specifically, you might want to pay attention there because it says, because we have so many different things going on. We got two rates, two times, total distance. So this is another mini question type inside of today's lesson that I wanted to throw in, just flat faced at you to see if you can adjust to what looks to be the same type of problem, but it's actually a little different. So right here it says, how many total miles did the person travel? Okay, how many total miles? Everybody, doesn't that mean that we're going to take the different events and add those distances together? Is that what it means? Right? So easily, if we look at the stuff here, it says travels to a destination and then travels back home. So it sounds like the total miles is going to be the distance to the destination plus the distance back home. Is that true, everybody? The distance to the destination plus the distance back home, that's going to be the total distance. Is that intuitive enough? Is that sensible to you in terms of the real world? If I want to find the total distance and we're talking about going there and back home, so you find how long it is there, how far it is back home, and you add them up, right? That seems like that would make sense. And so I want you to approach these. I really want you to approach these problems, especially new ones, as doable, not crazy situations, but doable. Because oftentimes the keywords will give it away for you. So total distance is what this will be. And so here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead now and we'll say, hey, we're looking at to the destination. I see here that it says the speed to the destination was 20 miles per hour. So my rate was 20 miles per hour. And then it says for the way back home, speed was 28 miles per hour. Sounds good. And then it says if it takes the person 7 hours to travel to the destination. So right there, travel to the destination is 7 hours. So I'll go ahead and write that out right there. Boom, time equals 7 hours. And then the time back home, right over here, it says 5 hours to travel back home. Cool. It's just really, the most annoying thing about this is just organizing the information in the right spot. But once you organize the information in the right places, look at how beautiful this can be. Because now we know what the plan is. Find the distance there, find the distance back home, add them up, and you're done. Here we go. Distance equals rate times time. Distance equals 20 times 7. Everybody, 20 times 7 is what? Quick. 140. Thank you. Boom, 140. Then up next, we're going to go here. The distance back home, that's going to be 28 times 5. Everybody, what's 28 times 5? What's that going to be? 140. Right on. We have that going on. So this isn't too crazy of a problem. 140 plus 140 equals what? 280 miles. Done. And there's your answer. And we are good. So again, I hope that you start seeing these problems as doable. There are enough hints for us to really make it through, even if we've never seen the problem like that before. Like, for example, this is a new question type within the question type that we did today. Who here was able to get it right confidently? Right? This one was a little easier because you're just saying, oh, we're just going to add the distances up. But again, there are so many different scenarios that you could be asked to solve for. So many. So you really need to pay attention for that, because at the end of the day, just being able to look at these situations the correct way, which is, what do you want? What do you have? What's the connection? Do I know the formula I need to apply? Can I be confident that I'm pointing out a rate, a distance, a time? Can I be confident that these two things are related? bringing it all together. That's what we're here to do. And that's what tomorrow's class is all about. So if you're here today, again, this is part 3 out of 4. Tomorrow is part 4 of 4. We are going to be mixing in all the problem types from part 1, all the problem types from part 2, and all the problem types from today's class, part 3. And I may or may not be throwing in a couple surprises in there to just, keep you on your toes. Because as long as you read the question and go through the process, you're going to be fine. Even if you don't get the question right, you will have the opportunity to learn at a much faster rate than anybody else. But without further ado, who here is feeling like today was worth it for them? Who here is feeling like it was worth it for them? Hey, man, right on. Right on. I love seeing it. Again, just practice the right way. As long as you're practicing with the right materials, the right way, given time, you're going to get the job done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and conclude class. And I want to give an opportunity for those who want to sign up for the program. I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to do so here tonight. So for those of you here that are already in the program, before you leave, I would just love for you to leave a quick word of encouragement for those who are potentially thinking about joining the program. What are some words that you would give them? In terms of your experience so far, is it something that you wish you would have done earlier? Is it something that is really benefiting you right now? You just go ahead and give a kind word or any word at all in terms of what your experience has been like, because it's an honest perspective and I want them to hear it from you. So if you're looking for any motivation to get the program, check the chat box and go ahead and check that chat box. So let me go and skip over to the end here. And so once you're done typing something out, if you are in the program, feel free to go ahead and see yourself out. I'm going to go ahead and send out the recording via email once it's up tomorrow. It's actually live on YouTube right now, so you can actually just rewatch it on YouTube if you'd like to tonight. But we're going to go ahead and look forward to tomorrow's class, okay? So in tomorrow's class, we're doing part 4, everything all together. So if you're in the program, I'll see you later. Thanks again for typing out a quick word there. And for those of you that have been here for the first time or are interested, who here is interested in the full program? Oh, man, these are awesome words. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that. No, these are cool words. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for being honest. So, Arish, sounds good. Just go ahead and text me separately, Arish. Since you're already in the program and you've been a long-time member, I'll go ahead and hook you up with the upgrade. I got you. So let's go ahead and go through it here. So really quickly, it won't take much of your time. This will be 5-10 minutes max, and you'll understand exactly how it works, and we're moving forward from there. So basically, get ready to answer these questions fairly quickly, my party people. So if you're here and you're interested, pay attention. Number 1, test anxiety. Do you experience test anxiety in any form at all? Whether it's just doing practice problems, you get a little clamped up. Whether it's when you're with a recruiter and you're doing something you've already practiced, but in front of a recruiter, it feels like impossible. Has that ever happened to you? Where something you know how to do in practice, when you go to do it at MEPS or being timed from anybody else, for some reason, being timed or being put under pressure just sucks. So that's something that you can train for. It's not impossible to get over. I've been doing this for a long time. We can get you over that hump. Number 2, have you ever blanked out on word problems? Word problems that could be 2, 3, 4 sentences. You read the information. You know what the words mean, but you just blank out. You just blanked out. Right? That happens. That absolutely happens. So here's the next one. Answer this one pretty quickly here. Do you find yourself, when you're taking practice tests or real tests, do you find yourself running out of time and you have to guess and hope for the best? A situation like having 2 minutes left, 9 questions, you got to guess, no time. You have to almost accept defeat, right? And it sucks. You don't want that feeling, and you wish there was a way to kind of get through that. That's what we have here for you as a solution. Now, do you feel like you're alone going through all of this? Do you feel like the studying process is kind of like up to you to figure out on your own? Are you feeling that way? Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. So just a couple of positive questions. Yes or no to you? Did today's class improve your chances of passing? Do you believe that more of this could potentially work for you? And do you wish someone had your back until you passed? Cool. Thanks for being honest. So with that said, my party people, look, again, as you've seen from the people that are in my classes already and from those who have passed, this really isn't anything like once in a lifetime. Like, no, this is just People who want to work hard, who want to put in the work, they just need someone to line it up for them. It's almost like going to batting practice and that ball is right there on the tee. All you got to do is swing. Whether you've been the Top Golf or Drive Shack or a batting, or the batting cage, wherever it is, it's a lot easier when the ball is right there in front of you and all you have to do is swing. That's what this program does for you. And that's why so many people, over 1,000 people have passed with this thing. And I'm just over the moon at how good this program has become because of you guys. So with that, again, like I said, you have all of these different features in the program that really all mean the same thing. I have your back all the way until you pass. I forgot to copy the updated information, but it's now 15,000 problems. It's over 425 recordings, and all the courses and progress updates and weekly progress reports. Everything that I do, every update that I make, it's simply designed to help you succeed. So at this time, today, January 23rd, 2023, the program is the best it's ever been because the moment that you sign up, you know exactly how to start, you know exactly how to track your progress, and you have my number to communicate with me every single step of the way until you pass. And that's why it's special. So the easiest way to sign up is going to be like this. Let me get my big old head out of the way. But here's the thing. This program is actually the cheapest program out there across the US. Most programs are charging like $200 a month. I don't really agree with that because it just shouldn't cost that much to serve your country. So what I offer is everything that I mentioned, so more than anybody provides, for just $60 a month. And if you know that this program is going to work for you and you want to go ahead and take all the time in the world to succeed, you can. You pay once with with a year membership. You can get that for $150 off tonight, which is almost 50% off on top of the discount that I already have on it. Because it's typically, together everything is about $700 a year. So for $197, that's a steal. And I have a new lifetime membership at now $297 tonight only. If you want to get the lifetime deal, pay once, get all my upgrades all the way through, and it comes with a free shirt. So there it is, my party people. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me on that. Rodney, the $50 lifetime upgrade is absolutely still available. If you are in the year, you can upgrade to the lifetime for just $50, but that's only for current program members, those who have been there with me since the beginning. That's my huge hookup to you. But even those who are here tonight, they still get a ridiculous hookup by getting it for way over 50% off. So with that said, if you have any questions, text me for sure. Yeah, for sure, Karima. The classes are going to be Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So the same time as today, Mondays, Tuesdays. So Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So great question. But again, you would just use that code right there for the year. You would type in year 150 to get $150 off. Or if you're looking for the lifetime, you can go ahead and use the code LT200. Yeah, and all you're going to do is make sure that you redeem it at checkout and you're set. So let me go ahead and copy and paste the information again. So you can go ahead and click on it in Zoom. Super easy right there. Hey, no worries, Karima, because the thing is, every class is recorded, and these classes are more so like extra support. The great thing is that, so it doesn't either way. Even if it did interrupt your work schedule, the great thing about the program is that you don't need to be in the live classes. I set up all these courses with the recordings, guided practice, worksheets that you can print at home and work on your own, to everything, the speed drills, the practice tests, the time, like everything is there. You can work on it on your own, 24/7, whenever you need it. The live classes are really just there to, give that boost of extra live support. But these are great questions so far, guys. That's really all you have to do. Just click the link in the chat box or go to asvab.info/classes, click sign up and raise your score, pick a plan and sign up. The most popular plan by far is the monthly, but I do have about 1 in every 5 people who buy. They do get the year, and the year proves to be very beneficial for those of us that are facing a 6-month wait, for those of us that are trying to score as high as possible, and for those of us that want to score high to get promoted with a general technical score. So if you fall in that category, the year is definitely the recommendation, and it's at a steal right now. I would highly recommend it. Let's see, other questions. Yeah, Rodney, like I said, hit me up for that. I got you there. And the 4 of you that already signed up, you are set. Congrats on signing up. Yep, you should have received a text and an email too. Yeah, so I'm not going to say your name since you're private messaging me. But yeah, you should have received the text and an email. So go ahead and just read through that text and read through that email, and you're all good. And if you're not quite sure right now, you can always text me 567 698 8867. I can go ahead and actually type that a little better here in the chat box too. But if you have any questions at all about the program, let me know. Let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. Right there, there's my phone number. Feel free to text me at that number. Text me. If you have any questions at all, like that's what I'm here to do to help you succeed. So with that said, once you sign up, the 4 of you that already did, the 6 of you that signed up already, make sure to read through that welcome text and welcome email. But pretty much all you're doing is going to go through the program checklist and get started away with math or English, whichever one you choose first. And that's it. You get started, everything's lined up for you. You'll get your progress report this Wednesday and every Wednesday after that. And I'm also going to be sending you messages of encouragement to make sure that you're working through every single day. I got your back. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll stay on for an extra 2 minutes. Yeah, take your time. Go through it. It's super easy to go through. The program checklist has everything you need. How to join the live classes, how to get the recordings, how to watch the recordings, how to get to your courses, accessing your study guides, accessing your extra resources. My phone number is in there as well, my email. So if you have any questions at all, you can always reach out to me. But I've been continuously refining it to make it very, very, very easy to go through. So thankfully, it's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the year and the lifetime deals, those are tonight only. Yeah, because that's actually just a pretty huge discount. So I'm only going to do it if you came in tonight. Cool. Perfect. And so if you're watching on YouTube as well, you can go ahead and click the link in the chat box I'm going to be putting up right now. That way, if you're interested, there it is. There's the link and there's discount codes. So feel free to use that. You can also look at the link in the description of this video to find the link to the classes, to the full program. So if you're interested, get on in there, my party people. But with that said, it looks like I've answered everybody's question here. Ahmed, I got you. So Ahmed, I can go ahead and actually honor, because I believe you already signed up today. So I can just go ahead and discount what you paid for when you signed up, and I can give you the discount that I'm offering today. So you'll only pay the difference, which would be the 137. Let me know if that's okay with you, and I can get that upgrade started for you. Ahmed, let me know, and I can get that done for you. Cool. Sounds good. So, Ahmed, I'm going to go ahead and do that for you right now. I'm going to cancel your subscription, and then I will give you a code right now for the year. I'm going to text you directly, okay? So just look out for that. Give me 2 seconds. Booyah, right here. All right, perfect. All right, there we go. So, Ahmed, hold on 1 second. I just went ahead and unenrolled you. So now, booyah, cool. There we go. Now all I got to do is create a custom coupon code for you, and you're set. So give me 1 moment here. Cool. So it's gonna be 150 plus that, so $210 off. And then all access bundle. Booyah. And boom, we're good. All right, so there we are. Perfect. So Maiden, Ahmed, give me 2 seconds here. I'm gonna text you directly now. And I'm texting you your code as well. Your code is right there, all capital letters, okay? So if you're on your desktop or your laptop, you can just go back to the program page. I can give you the link here in the Zoom chat as well. And then all you have to do is go ahead and make sure that you're signed in, use that code to sign up, and you're good. So I typed it into Zoom as well. There's your code right there. And then, hey, Arij, are you still in here? Looks like you just dipped. Cool. So I can help you out as well. All right, great. So the thing is, Janet, or so the person who's messaging me right now, since you're messaging me privately, I'll keep your name anonymous. So the thing is, if you have your test tomorrow and you're not feeling like you're ready to score your best, because being ready to pass is very different than doing your best. It's not just about just passing and getting in, it's about having a say in what job you want. So the great thing, the great advantage that you have is you can cancel your test tomorrow. There's no penalty. Yeah, your recruiter might be like, oh man, they're not coming in. But ultimately, it's your choice. When you come in and when you take the test is up to you. So take advantage of that. Respectfully let them know. My suggestion is let them know, hey, I found an ASVAB coach that I really do believe can work for me. I would like to score higher because the thing is, if a recruiter, gets an applicant with a higher score and a better job, they look better. So at the end of the day, it's great for everybody involved. So if you're not ready to score your best, I recommend canceling that test, respectfully letting your recruiter know that you found an ASVAB coach, sign up with the program, I'll get you ready, and you'll know when you're ready to go in. That's really my recommendation. Because a lot of the times, I hate to say it, but a lot of the times people say that, oh yeah, I'll just go in and I'll see how I do. And every single time, like 8 times out of 10, they come back the next week and they say, coach, I should have just signed up for the program. Now I have to wait a month. And then the next time I take it, I got to wait 6 months. You don't want to be in that situation. You might as well play it safe if you know that you can play it safe. So person who messaged me directly, Jay, let me know if that makes sense. Okay, so Arij, you are no longer in the chat. Oh, perfect, sounds good. I'm glad it makes sense. So Arij is not in the chat, but I'm going to text Arij directly. So I got you there. Perfect there. Yeah, Maiden. So Ahmed, do you want to text me? Go ahead and text me, Ahmed, and I'm going to go ahead and help you out, okay? I'll help you out directly. So does anybody else here need help with signing up? If you do, please go ahead and text me directly because I'm going to be ending the stream in a few moments. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over to my text messages for the next 10 minutes just to make sure that anybody who needs help does get that help, okay? So Ahmed, go ahead and text me. So Maiden, do you have my number, right? I've been texting you. So just text me back there, okay? Let me know what the issue is, and I'm more than happy to help you out there. Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions here? And again, if you're on YouTube, I really do recommend texting me directly because I'm not monitoring the YouTube directly right now. But But if you would please go ahead and shoot me a text 567-698-8867 if you are interested in the program. Sounds good, Rodney. I'll go and reply to that right now too. I got you. So with that said, my party people, I'm going to be closing down the YouTube chat right now. You guys are awesome. Again, shoot me a text if you have any questions at all. I got your back, all right? So there it is, 567-698-8867. I'm Coach Anderson. Let's taste the ASVAB. Hit me up with a text, and let's go ahead and raise your score. I'll see you guys in the next free class. We have our final part 4 for tomorrow, only for program members. Definitely recommend that you join that. Go to duranlearning.com or, again, text me if you have any questions. See you guys. Love y'all. And so for my